Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city and Also Ask is the only tool to access live People Also Ask data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Very excited to be here. So just a little bit about my title. The title says, using content clusters for human-centric conversions, which is marketing speak for use content clusters, put humans first, make more money. So I'm going to talk to you about how you can stop 61% of your visitors from leaving your site by implementing a content cluster. Here's some of the things you might know. So content clusters, they aren't new. In fact, if you look, do a bit of a Google round, you'll find out that HubSpot basically came up with the name content clusters from a marketing context in 2017. But before that, web designers were using information architecture and grouping lots of like information together. They've been written about. So being around since 2017, all of these publications have told you something about them. They're often named differently. In fact, you've probably bought them if you've been in marketing for a while. They've been called pillar content, cornerstone content, SEO that works. They help with EAT. So one of the things you'll find with content clusters is that they link lots of bits of information together. All of that information being linked together shows a relationship between that information that helps Google understand why you have expertise, experience, authority, and trust. They require a lot of time and effort. So in order to get one off the ground, we're going to have to involve a lot of people. We're going to have to go through some deep research. We're going to have to produce really good pieces of content. That's all going to take lots and lots of time and effort. That means they're a big win. Now, in SEO, we talk a lot about quick wins. What's the quick win? How do we get our customers to buy into this marketing project? Content clusters don't really fall into that. They fall into that research time and effort piece. Well, they pay off. So what's a content cluster? This lovely diagram shows you pillar content and the clusters that surround it, strategically linked by hyperlinks. But what does that mean? It means that what I've got to do is I've got to design a piece of content around my ideas. I've got to actually dig in deep. I've got to find lots of information that will talk to my users. It'll explain to them everything about that topic. I've also got to have subdivisions, things that support it, subtopics. And then what I've got to do, I've got to plan out how I'm going to link in between those bits of information so that it makes sense to people. So that it makes sense not just to search engines, but to the users that are coming onto your site. So pillar content, what are we talking about? We're talking about a piece of content that considers everything. So I've got to go through and research my topic. I've got to find all the information about it. I've got to deeply understand it. And then I've got to put that into a structure on my website that makes sense. And then I'm going to connect them. So when I connect them, I'm looking for reasons to connect things. I'm looking for them to be structurally sound, to make sense so that they follow a pattern. Now what that's going to do for you is going to increase page consumption. Now, it's a bit of an odd metric, yeah? But I really want people to engage with the content that's on my site. I want them to go and explore. I want them to find their way around. I want them to understand why my brand's better than everybody else's. That's going to increase the perceived value of your site. It means that when people are looking for something, they're not just finding one thing. They're going to find all the supporting information, all the stuff that helps you make decisions. But there's a problem. So your biggest obstacle when you're trying to put together a content cluster is that we have to create all of this information. We have to get people involved. It means that I've got to go and talk to stakeholders. I've got to go and talk to my web designers. It's not just a product of a marketing department. It's everybody being involved in it. Now it takes a lot of organising. So instead, 9 times out of 10, we're going to dump things in the blog. So, we planned at Reflect a content cluster as a project for a well-known coffee brand. Now, if you look at the diagram on the left, it shows it's not complete. We've only really gone through phase 1, which is going through research and production of the content. We've already seen 980 top 10 keywords. We've seen a 300% increase in traffic, and that's only phase 1. So how do we overcome the obstacle? So the key bit is we need to involve the right people from the start. That means having a chat with people. It means getting meetings together. It means talking to your web designer, going and digging them out the cupboard. It means actually involving everybody outside of your marketing and making them take ownership. So what are they going to do? What do you want from them? What's the objective? What's the timeline? When they're going to deliver it to you? It also means getting your hands on the data that nobody else has. That's your data. The stuff that talks to your users. All of that information that tells you what questions they ask. How your customer service department relates to the same question 50 times in a week that's not answered anywhere on your website. How your sales department sell things. Because sometimes that's different to the product descriptions that we put out. What do your marketing people want to say? What promotions have they got? How does that interact? How does that fit into your website structure? So, examples. There's still quite a lot of big brands using content clusters. So AppSumo, some of you will have heard of them. They use a database cluster. It's quite a clever piece of information. So what they've done is they've categorized all of the different products that they produce into the different database model, and they produce that as categories onto the site. Brainstorm have been around for quite a while. They talk about how to be a cybersecurity analyst, and they talk about everything from what qualifications you need, what salary you're going to do, what time of day you're likely to finish work, what's actually involved. The BBC, they use a technology cluster. They talk in their blog about everything to do with technology, and it's all interlinked. So if you want to find something out about technology, you go onto the BBC, you can find literally anything. And Hootsuite, they created a guide on how to ultimately market using Facebook. Still ranks very, very well. So where do we start? We always start with keyword research and search intent. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So the first one is from a charity. Okay, this is just a word cloud. So if you're talking about charities, in this case poverty, you might start off by talking about all the ways that poverty impacts the UK, where the lines are, how they're drawn. But you might also support that with things like clusters around statistics, subtopics that include things like child poverty. Now, that's going to establish a relationship and an understanding that you actually know about your topic. Something a little bit lighter. My sister lived in Greece for 14 years. I find Greece is quite an interesting place. If you're booking a holiday, you might say, I want to go on holiday to Greece. But there's actually 14 or 15 different islands. So talking about a holiday in Greece becomes talking about a holiday in Zante, in Kos, in Crete. It becomes talking about where you can hire a car in each of those places. It becomes, what are the things that you can do? What are some nice activities? What's the nightlife like? But we also need to understand the intent. Now, as marketeers, we sometimes fall down here. We go into a pattern of, oh, it's navigational, it's informational, it's commercial, it's transactional. But intent means so much more. So back in 2019, there were a large number of mortgage providers, and all of those mortgage providers were trying to rank for first-time buyer mortgages to attract new customers. Now, what they found was there were 200,000 searches at the time for mortgages. There's only 2,500 for first-time buyer mortgages. But when they actually studied it and they understood the users, what they found was the people that were typing in mortgages, 85% of them, or 170,000, were actually looking for a first-time buyer mortgage. So what happened is people like Nationwide suddenly changed their mortgage pages because they completely understood that people searching for mortgages wanted to find first-time buyer mortgages. You can see that today. It's still the same. People are searching for one thing, but they mean another. So when we create a structure that's defined by keywords and search intent, it looks a little bit like this. So you can see here, I've chosen the destination point for a holiday. You've got things around culture. You've got things about car hire. You've got things around where to go and eat and drink, what the weather's like, photos, FAQs, etc., etc. But that then builds into a whole ecosystem for your site, because those destinations connect to other destinations, other places where we can talk about the same kind of information and how that is influenced. But we need to consider users, not just keywords. Now what that means is we're looking at personas, not just demographics. So give us a shout out if you recognise these two people. Okay, yeah, so you're right, Superman and Spider-Man. They're both the same age. They're both affluent and wealthy, which is where demographics stops. But one of them enjoys Warhammer and stretchy blue tights, and the other one's a friendly neighbourhood guy who likes climbing. Got Lady Gaga and Amanda Seyfried, very similar, both like singing and acting. Okay, they're both age 39. They're both affluent and wealthy. But if you want to sell a tennis racket or a membership to a luxury tennis organisation, you're going to go for Amanda, not Lady Gaga. Now, we also need to optimise for search experience. So this is an empathy map. It helps you understand what your customer says, what your customer thinks, what your customer feels, and what your customer does. So as an example, your customer might say, I'm not really sure what to do from here. What they're thinking is, this is really annoying. What they feel is real frustration, and what they do is they leave your site. So, I stole this from Lottie, who sat in the front row down here. She's speaking later on, and Isabel. It's a little analogy to help you all understand. It's called Elephant and Rider, and they did that in a team day for us. Ultimately, what it means is that you've got a rational mind and an emotional mind. Okay? Now, the rational mind sits as a rider, guiding you through, using logic, understanding. But if you're being honest, that elephant can go wherever it wants. So, if we're talking to a rational mind and we're talking content, what we're really talking is assessing things rationally, making sure that you address pain points, making sure you go through FAQs, making sure that what you actually do is you're talking to someone in a logical manner. Whereas, if I want to talk to somebody's emotional mind, what I need to do is I need to connect with them. I can use imagery, I can use videos, I can push people towards a particular decision based on the fact that something's scarce, the fact that 5 of their friends bought it 5 minutes ago. I can use those behavioural nudges, those social proofs, those ultimate decision-making skills at an emotional level to influence someone's decision. Now, search journeys aren't linear. If you study this enough, you can go and read the paper from Google. Ultimately, it says that people are exposed to a particular product and they spend quite a long time considering before they ultimately make a purchase. Now, we know about this. We put it as a marketing funnel. So we raise awareness, right? We consider consideration content. Then we get people to buy and they advocate for us. There's a way you can reframe this. So if someone's looking for awareness content and they don't find it, they are leaving your site. If they are looking for consideration content and they don't find it, they are leaving your site. If they're looking to purchase and they don't find it, they are leaving your site. So why are we not including it in our marketing efforts? Now, the speed at which we can access that information is also important. So if you've been in SEO for a while, you've looked at page speed insights. You've probably been on the phone to your technical SEO person going, make my page faster. And you've probably read stats like this, where it's at 4 seconds, up to 47% of your visitors, they're going to leave. But in reality, 61% of your users are leaving your site if they can't find the information that they want at the stage of the journey that they're at in 5 seconds. That doesn't change. You can make your pages as fast as you want in terms of loading time, but if they're not finding the information, they are leaving your site. An inability to find information creates a real negative brand perception. Confusing information architecture creates massive user frustration. Your poor navigation has an impact on SEO from a point of view of not transferring link authority between pages, not allowing people to transfer between different pieces of information. And that missing content can also have a real negative impact on your SEO overall, because we all research into content gaps. We all look for new opportunities to rank. So if it's not there, it's not going to rank. If that missing information is also part of a key stage in a user's journey, you're going to lose sales opportunities. So what if? What if we understand how our users search to find us? What if we understood our users' questions and pain points? What if we could connect to them on an emotional level? And what if we understood our personas and motivations of our users? What if we were able to map this information into our website? It would keep users on your site. It would reduce user frustration. It would improve brand perception. It would help guide and motivate them towards making the right purchase, not just any purchase. Ultimately, it would help your site make more money. And it would probably look like a content cluster. Thank you very much.
Demand sphere. Limitless visual insights from the SERPs. Unlimited dashboards and users. Easy to use and easy to scale your growth to new levels.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.